Hello everybody. Well, this time around we're going a little different route. We're going to explore Canton Thurgau, which is the home canton, and we're going to start out in Frauenfeld, which is the capital of Canton Thurgau. This map gives you a little bit of an overview of the canton. Purple area is Tanzapfenland, and then of course the upper end is where it's the Lake Untersee and Bodensee, and then of course on the other side there is Germany, and Frauenfeld is sort of on the western edge of the canton. This is an older photograph of the castle, and the creek that runs by it actually starts all the way in Tanzapfenland. Now let's talk a little bit about the history of the canton. The Dukes of Zähringen and the Counts of Kyburg took over much of the land in the Middle Ages. With the extension of the courts of the Kyburg in 1264, control of the Thurgau reverted back to Habsburg. Now, during the Protestant Reformation in Switzerland, both the Catholic and emerging Reformed parties sought to swing the subject territory, such as the Thurgau, to their side in 1524. And we'll sort of carry on. We'll see the picture on the top right. There was 1524, the destruction of the Karthausen. Anyway, that's part of the history. Now this map shows you the canton in the 18th century and how it was divided up with all the different dukes and counts, and mostly the church, all the different abbeys. Like for instance, if you look at the bottom in Dusnang, Fishing, and Pichelsee, all belong to the abbey in Fishing, and so you can see that when the Reformation happened, the farmers and the locals basically were fed up with having to pay all this money to different churches and the dukes. So there was a big push to try to be independent and join the Swiss Confederation. Now when Frauenfeld was founded, it started out basically with just a tower and a few farmhouses. Here's a model of what the city looked like probably around 1300. And you see when they built that tower, there was no cut stone or anything. It's just pretty rough looking work. And the timber work, and what's amazing is the timber work is probably over 1,000 years old and still standing up. Now was an addition or reinforcing made at one point, and what's kind of interesting to me is how on the left side you see where they added on, but they use relatively small stone, and I guess I was thinking there's two possibilities. One is they run out of big stone, or possibility number two is all the strong guys that left to another job, and just the wimps were building the stone wall. Bettina, Paul's daughter, gave us a tour around the castle. She works there, do tours. Now you can see some of the armaments that were used during the Middle Ages, and was a kind of time you didn't really want to get involved in an argument with somebody that had a bigger spear or sword than you had. But I did get to try out a helmet, and surprisingly, I thought it was very heavy, but it wasn't. It was relatively comfortable. And this is one of those gadgets that you didn't really want to get stuck with that, because you got put out in the town square. Beautiful arched windows, and shows you how deep the walls were. Tile stove that was very common those days. You actually feed the fire on the other side and the tile get warm, so it stays warm for several hours. There's an old clock, and I have no idea how old it is, but it looked pretty rough. Now they also had a display of coat of arms here to show the different provinces, and a coat of arms, all the different dukes and counts and different abbeys. But then I noticed something, and I said to Paul, "Hey, wait a minute, isn't that our coat of arms of our family?" So now we had to look more into it, and look at that. There's our Whitmer coat of arm, and the only difference I can see, we have the arrow in there. So, well, you never know, maybe one of my ancestors was some famous count back in the old country. This shows you how massive these stone walls were. And I guess one of the ideas there was because it was a rubble wall, and I had to kind of make it massive. At the very top of the tower, there's some church bells. Looking out from the tower, you see how in the olden days all the buildings were attached to each other. So in essence, they created a wall. Look at how the chimney caps are very sophisticated, little caps. I was amazed with this door handle. That's what you call some massive blacksmith work. And here's the main road. There's also a train that goes from Frauenfeld to Wiel, and it's quite busy. Catholic church. And that looks like the Protestant church. This is a piece of fantastic craftsmanship. It contains 1,000 pearls, and it was only used for one celebration. Now this piece of paper was found when they did a restoration in one of the abbeys in 1904. It was in between the floorboards, but it was actually written around 1400, and there's two songs were written, so it's quite interesting. So there were some other nice artwork written, I guess, mostly by the monks. Now we're going to go to Ittingen and visit the monastery, which was founded in 1150 by the Canons Regular. In 1461, the premises were sold to the Carthusians. In 1524, during the Reformation, the monastery was destroyed in the Ittinger storm. but was rebuilt during the Counter-Reformation in 1798. The official of the Helvetic Republic forbade the acceptance of novices and declared the monastery assets the property of the state. Nevertheless, the Charter House survived until 1848, when it was finally dissolved. Now, I guess one of the reasons why in 1524, during the Reformation, they didn't really want to have anything to do with the Catholic Church, and because the monks all got chased out there, and unfortunately they also had a beer brewery, and maybe that was one of the beefs. Maybe the monks didn't want to share the beer. Anyway, so what we're seeing now is that the building that got rebuilt later on in the 1800s. There's also this beautiful window of stained glass that shows the conference with some of the local monks, and their workmanship is exquisite, and all the different writings and pictures. I'm just curious how they ended up making it. Well, Karen is going in one of the monks' rooms there and checking it out. It's actually quite spacious. Their bedrooms are very small, but they had access to some tools. This is the main church, and you can see it was built during the Baroque period. It's beautiful. They also had an exhibit in the basement, which was quite interesting. Now we're going to Schloss Arenenberg, and Great Britain played here an important role. Queen Hortense, her son, the Emperor Napoleon III, and his wife Eugenie brought many ideas from Great Britain, and they created on Arenenberg a meeting place of world fame. Even today, the castle estate with its Napoleon Museum, the gastronomy, and the hotel and the winery continues this tradition. Now, the castle is actually the small part of the Arenenberg complex. What people don't realize is that the canton actually developed an education center for the agriculture, where they learn to be farmers, and not just so they have different sectors, how to grow vegetables, various types of fruit, apples, etc. And the also, of course, animal husbandry. But there's still a beautiful park with whole trees that have been probably planted 200 years ago. And there's us. I pretend to be Napoleon III. Karen is Queen Hortense, and we're overlooking the lake and enjoying the view. Unfortunately, it was kind of a dull grey day, but nonetheless, it was a decent view. Some crafty person decided to make a shape of a boat with some flowers in it. And now we're looking over to Reichenau, which is an island on the German side. The Abbey of Reichenau was founded in 724, and then quickly developed into influential religious and cultural and intellectual center. And being in sort of Central Europe, it had a lot of scholars that ended up coming there for meetings, and so it was quite renowned. They even buried some of the saints, quote unquote saints, from Zurich, and the architectural is phenomenal. Now Reichenau was also closely connected with Constance and the Abbey in St. Gallen, Switzerland. Now in St. Gallen, they have built this famous library, which is beautiful. It was founded in 612 by an Irish monk. How he ended up in Switzerland, I'll never know. It's too late to ask that fellow. Now, one of the lesser known castles is this castle here, which was owned by the Zeppelin family, and Zeppelin was obviously the fellow who invented the aircraft, and they had a place in Switzerland where us kids would get educated, and also they first trial flight was on Bodensee, was on a German site. So, and also if you read the history of the military, it's quite interesting what this fella actually ended up doing. So this is a little bit of history of Torgau, for famous and not so famous, I guess. And I want to finish it off with a piece of music, a song that we learned in school. And I remember that when we had the school ended up hiring a bus once in a while, and then we go on excursions, and that was one of the songs teacher always asked us to sing, and it's basically the anthem, or not official anthem, of the Canton Thurgau. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. So long.